Something about kickers, down 30 games. You throwing that workout yesterday? Like good?
Or can I help you? I think I'm good. I'm just trying to get. We're going to YouTube this morning for the first time. Yeah, instead of Zoom, so people can just get on instead of normally I have to like let them in the waiting room and everything. We were gonna do it last week, but I think we would have gotten copyright money because we were just like watching. Like you just stream another documentary or something like that. The algorithm will figure it out.
Did you get it to work, Warren?
I think so. We're live.
Cool.
I'm gonna go sit in the kids' room and like go to the YouTube channel and watch it.
Is this like a public thing, or is this more private where we can?
It is public, like, but they have to search for it.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to be promoted in the algorithm or anything like that. I also made it to where people, if they wanted to like write a comment, they have to have subscribed for a day. So we're not going to have like people just like spamming. I don't know.
Good. Okay. Cool. Thanks for thinking about that.
I mean, if anybody just like Googles Mosaic Collective YouTube, they should be able to see it.
Cool. Sounds great. No, that's great.
Because I can make it private.
Currently,
Yeah. I woke up like 8:30, but I'm still kind of tired.
But the thing is, if we make it private, I think we would run into the same thing with Zoom. Someone has to constantly
Did you watch football much?
No, I don't. I don't watch football.
let's just play.
I watch
I
that.
watch. And we'll see how it works. Hey, after all this, I'm gonna get you and
That's really bad.
some others together. Talk about the next couple of weeks.
I was watching that Missouri Georgia game last night. I fell asleep, and like I just can't. Dude, I'm falling asleep like 9 o'clock every night. Like I don't know. I've been fighting for my life.
Good job, man. 7 a.m.
It really is it, dude. I wake up so early. And by the time 9 o'clock rolls around, I'm like, I've been up for like 14 hours. Man.
I had to drive somewhere like 10. No, that's okay. I just like, then I can trust.
I guess that's a good
As long as I drive there in the lights.
Yeah. If it's at night.
If it's at night, no. But if I drive there in the day, I'm getting mid shift now.
Where's that? 10 to 7?
10 to 6.
But my brain is like,
That,
I don't know.
I like that shift alright.
It's better than like 11 to 9.
Yeah.
That's true too. Yeah, I will say that. At least you got a couple hours out after work or something, right? Dude, that was like we would do like 1 or 2 to close, and that would literally go till midnight some nights, and then you're just like you don't want to do anything. Like normally you sleep. For being honest, you sleep till about 10 or 11, or at least I did.
Yeah.
And then you wake up, you're like, oh man, I gotta work in 2 hours. So that gives you just enough
That's
time.
that's all the time.
I would like watch a show or do homework for a minute, and then go into work, and then literally have your whole day there. And you come home, and you're like, somehow you stay up till you get home at like 11 or 12, and somehow I'm like up until like 2 or 3 a.m.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it. I'm like, what am I doing then? Then I'll sleep late the next morning. It's like just the whole cycle again.
Yeah, no, I don't like the closing. And like closer shift, it just they can do so much stuff.
Oh
And
yeah,
a lot more than openers that it does not work.
yeah, dude. It's you pretty much have to clean up after. All of the opening stuff from the day.
It's been good. I started watching I like it.
Record shopping yesterday. Went over to
I just watched it.
Shades.
Oh yeah, you find it good?
I went to Backdoor first, and you ever heard of Morgan?
It's like
It's like
It's like all this.
it does now that I think of it, but it's like a band or something like that. Well, I bought one of their records. And the guy ordered it for me, and then you ever heard of Rusty Joey? He had like the Dirty Volume 1 vinyl there, so I bought that too. So I got the both of those. Then I just found like a book about the coal mining industry. So yeah, I got that in Mr. I'm going with that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Proper cheap.
Yeah, it's like $8. Yeah.
I feel like it operates under the guise of Wholesome, but
It's right here. I'm actually heading that way.
Just people being a little bit.
Oh, joy.
We're actually going to start moving it next week.
Covered up
I'm getting the last track.
application with some early. See, everything's hipster. We play burlap on
That's right. Put some burlap everywhere and then.
I want to live in a burlap cage. I like being hipster. Do you? No.
I just love being hipster.
Time to wear beanies and
Jeremy and Laura coming today. You
I
heard?
don't think so. Ellie's got that stomach bug. So
That's right.
I think they're sitting.
Aren't they going on vacation sometime soon too?
Yeah.
I wish I would.
Me too.
I thought you were.
I am. I am going
Who
on
goes on
vacation.
vacation?
Who goes on vacation, guys? It's a waste of
You don't
time.
go on vacation.
I never.
Fill up my soul.
That's all TikTok. It was like it's supposed to be like a associate pastor on like a mission trip to like Cancun or something.
Hey guys,
so
So we can actually only visit the
orphanage
Yes.
one day a week.
I saw that. Well, yeah. What do you say? Something about getting into the culture? Like,
Yeah, talking to the employees at the resort.
Yeah.
Praying.
Wake surfing.
Lakes are only get the Mexican culture by
I thought it was hilarious.
jet skiing in Cabo.
In Cabo.
Yeah, surfing, drinking, party.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll pray for all the club
Yeah, we're going to the
club staff.
They
Big
bring
shout.
us our drinks.
Every drink is being
I gotta go to the park.
blessed.
Okay. All right. Oh, that's fine. Whatever that is.
Where? I'll go though. I don't know where he's got him.
Totally.
Happening.
This is just
What?
I probably should. I might just go back to like sleep. I told him I probably try to be there on the 12 day. I mean, I just think it's kind of easy. That's not a big deal.
There it
Don't have
is.
enough.
Yeah, we
We have
don't.
nothing.
We don't have anything going. So, I wonder if there's a way to like share this. Turned on subscribers only mode. Only subscribers can send messages. That's what I wanted to do. Oh wait, share,
There you go.
copy.
We're gonna send it to you.
Can you just text it to me?
Like only on iMessage.
Okay.
So not it'd have to be a.
Can you email that to me?
Yeah.
Also, I'm running behind on getting the recording.
That's
So if you just want to record it on your computer.
okay. What was it again?
Orin Rocks.
Yes, dude. Thanks for getting us. Hopefully this works.
What's he doing?
Sorry.
Spiritual power.
Yeah.
Super soul
Like,
food.
wow.
You know, last week I warned you that I had one. But honestly, just watch the episode that Robert
Yeah, I've
Pattinson.
seen that.
They got way too crossed.
Latter-day Saint.
Oh, you are not.
We love the scene where he's driving on the city and then they're on his way. Top five. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Don't talk about it. It'll probably. Okay, I'm looking forward to the next one if it makes it.
You're so like, you're saying like, how many times
Did you see the Ryan Reynolds cruising Deadpool?
I don't know.
Yeah, we got
I had a good
Then,
friend.
there was another bit, like third guy. Who was the third guy?
Yeah, in Utah.
I saw some video. They were all like teenagers.
They're up there with their like $1 billion trust fund.
Punisher? Does he have something to do with it? Or am I just like,
I have no idea.
I could get mixed up with something else.
I never watched it, so like
Punisher was really good. I didn't watch any of the other. Yeah, I didn't watch.
I never watched
The
it.
only it was like Daredevil season 1 and Punisher was the only good stuff. Iron Fist was so funny. It's so bad.
I didn't even watch. There was some of
He
them.
was like touting the entire time. My brother made that his Netflix logo as a meme.
I didn't hate Iron Fist. I think a lot of people did. There was a bad supporting cast. A lot of bad
That's
writing.
true.
I think
Well,
Arrow's
he
the
wasn't
superior.
great either. I think
Arrow really isn't.
Arrow is so good.
It is good.
It's
Okay,
so
I'm
good.
a fellow Arrow fan. I thought I was it.
We're small in number, but
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah, we went to see
Dude, CW shows are pretty cool.
All right, y'all. Let's do this. All right. Today I was going to start out with something. You know how we usually start with naming the good, looking back at our week, and we've talked briefly about it before. But there's this prayer called the Prayer of Examine. It's about 400 to 500 years old. And it's a way of looking back at your day, looking back at your week, looking back at your month, however you really want to structure it. But it's a way of looking back and seeing how God's been present, how God has shown up, and what God has been blessing, how God's been blessing you. And it's been really helpful practice for me and for lots of people to learn how to see God in the everyday. And that's the whole point of naming the good, is we're trying to see and name God showing up. So whenever there's that which is good, true, and beautiful, revealing itself in your life and showing up in your life, like we want to be the kind of people who can see it, name it. But also, like, there is a massive, growth point for spiritual formation. It's like, I want to become the kind of person who doesn't easily and naturally and routinely see that which I disagree with, or that which is wrong, or that which is like, I don't want to be that kind of person. I want to be the kind of person who can level-headedly see that which is good and see how God's showing up. And it's not saying that it takes away the heartache. It doesn't mean that it takes away the pain. It doesn't mean that it takes away the death that we kind of experience. But what it does mean is I want to become that kind of person who can easily, naturally, routinely see God showing up in my life. And the whole prayer of examines from St. Ignatius, and he talks about seeing God in all things and all things in God. And so it's kind of like a 5-step prayer practice. And what we're going to do is I'm going to just read them to you real quick. And then I'm going to read a series of prayers that kind of bounce off of those about seeing God and everything. And I'm just going to ask you guys to kind of spend in a time of prayer. And as I read those prayers over you, I hope it brings things to mind of this past week, or the past couple weeks, or whatever. But the prayer of examine starts with gratitude. You look back at your week, you say, these are the things that's good. These are the things that I name. This is what was a gift from God. It's like a good practice of starting out with grace and saying, here I am to the Lord. The next one is where you ask the Lord for grace. You ask the Lord for the things that's on your heart and mind. You petition. What's coming up? What do you need? Where's the needs? You go back. The third step is to review, like step by step, day by day, line by line. Like, this is physically what I did. And that's honestly just a good practice of looking back at your life and remembering things. But just go through, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. And it may come a little bit easier to see God showing up. The fourth step is to ask for forgiveness, the blunders that we give ourselves to, like to practice awareness. And most of the issues in our lives, or relationship stuff or work stuff, or whatever, like awareness is like half the battle. Like, as long as you're aware and you're practicing awareness, like that's a massive first step. And the last one is renewal. Like, take all that's been shown to you and ask for the next day. I'm going this way. So it's this 5-fold prayer practice, and there's different ways to word it, and it's just a way of looking back to train you to look forward. So the next week, as you're kind of, this is in your mind, you start to go through your day and you're a little bit more aware of how God shows up. So I'm going to play some music for us, and I just want us to enter into a kind of a spirit of prayer. And I'm going to read some prayers over us. And I hope that it just kind of spurs things in your mind and brings things up in your mind. And then after that, I'm going to play a song for us, and then we'll name the good together. Okay? Cool. All right. So if you want to pray with me, enter into the space however you need to. We want to realize that God is always inviting us to see, to recognize, to breathe, to rest. Maybe the first time that you're doing so today or this week. So in gratitude, we turn to God. We ask for grace to recognize Christ present in all things. Here's some prayers I hope kind of spur some things in your mind. God, where did I see you in my home, in my daily chores, in my morning routines? And where did I miss your presence? God, where did I see you on my commute? In the days comings and goings? Where did I pass by too quickly? God, where did I encounter you in my meals? Shared or alone? Quick or leisurely? Where was I ungrateful? God, where did I hear you in media? Where did I see you in the midst of the things I was seeing and hearing? God, how did I encounter you in my neighbor? My family, my friends, my coworkers? Where did I fail to love others as you loved me? In light of all those things, our collective prayer can be, God, guide me in the days ahead. Take a second, reflect, soak, remember back. God, we are here and we're yours. And however we're walking into this space, we know that you're always welcoming us as we are, not as we should be, because none of us is as we should be. And as we sit around the table, we sit around this room, and we see each other, we know that that is just as vital of a part of what it means to follow, is that we see others. And I pray that for myself and my friends here, that we can see Christ in each other, in the ways that we're wrestling, in the ways that we're questioning, in the ways that we don't know, in the ways that we're rejoicing, in the ways that we are asking you to come through, in the ways that we see you answer our prayers. God, we want to see Christ and experience Christ. And often the easiest way is in the faces of each other. So God, we look back, and I'm trying to recall the ways that you've shown up in my life this week. I don't want to just be the kind of person who can look back. I want to look forward. I want to be present where I'm at and name you in the moment. If that was God showing up for me, and you haven't left me, and this is Christ for me. And I pray that for myself and my friends here. So God, again, we're yours. We enter into the space with what we got, not checking it at the door, or bringing it into the table. Let me pray these things in your name. Amen. Hey, I'm going to play a song for you guys real quick. If you want to follow along on your phone or something, it's called Taste and See by John Mark Pantana, of course. It's just helpful. I was singing it this morning, and I just think it's really helpful. So we'll play the song, and then we'll name the good together, okay?
You're sweeter than the honeycomb, richer than the wine, better than the finest things that we can taste this life. You are my desire's king. Your love is all I'll ever need. You are my delicacy. Come on to the dinner table. Come on to the dinner table. Oh, you're healing my heart when I'm drinking in you, like jumping in the water in the summer of June. Soothing my soul when I'm thinking on you, like eating mom's cooking in the afternoon. Now is the time to feast. Now is the time to feast. Taste to see, taste to see. The Lord is good, good, good to me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, he's good, good to me. Yeah. Sweeter than honeycomb, richer than wine. Survey all the earthly goods, and I'll fail you every time. You are my desire's king. Love is all I'll ever need. You are my delicacy. Come on to the dinner table. Come on to the dinner table. Oh, you're healing my heart and I'm drinking it. I jump in the water in the summer of June. Soothing my soul and I'm thinking on you, like your mama's cooking in the afternoon. Now is the time to feast. Now is the time to feast. Oh, taste to see. Yeah, taste to see. The Lord is good, good, good to me. Satisfaction. I'm in so happy. You bring satisfaction. I'm in so happy. Wellspring of life. Oh, I'm here to die. You're healing my heart when I'm drinking in you, like jumping in the water in the summer of June. Soothing my soul when I'm thinking on you, like your mama's cooking in the afternoon. Oh, you're healing my heart when I'm drinking in you, like jumping in the water in the summer of June. Soothing my soul when I'm thinking on you, like your mama's cooking in the afternoon. Now is the time to feast. Now is the time to feast. Oh, taste to see, taste to see. The Lord is good, good, good to me. Yeah. Oh, he's good to me. Yeah. Taste and see. Oh, no, 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 no. Taste and see. Oh, no, 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 no.
There you go. All right, y'all. What I love about that whole song is like, it's bouncing off the whole idea and specifically from the Jewish idea of like God has set us a table. And so like we come to the table and we partake of Christ, and then in that, and by taking that, now we set a table for the world. And like, that's our call, is to come and taste and see and experience Christ, you know? And so I want to have a Eucharistic vision towards the world. Like God is always setting a table for me, and then I'm setting a table for others, you know? So that's kind of what we do here. As we're naming the good, like we're showing people Christ showing up, like the bread and the wine, like it's here and it's good and it's ever present. You know, the Jews have the phrase of that bread and wine is holy because all bread and wine is holy because of Christ now. And so as you see Christ everywhere, that's what we're experiencing. So we're going to name the good together. Remember, good comes from the Hebrew word tov. It's that which brings wholeness. And so it's not just really cool, big, spectacular moments. Like that's the whole series we're trying to talk about now, you know, in our conversations. It's even in the mundane, the stuff that doesn't seem big and spectacular and exciting. It's like that is also leading us towards Christ. And so where's the good? The past week or so, the true, the beautiful, something that you've tasted and seen, that we can speak over each other now.
As we were sitting here, I think I realized that this practice, like of naming good, has seeped into my life more and more, just like as a natural bent, which is really cool because this week has been really difficult at work. Not like for me personally, but there's just like we've had a lot of issues going on at work this week that were out of our control that we're just having to like react to. And so it's high stress and everyone's feeling upset and tense of just trying to navigate that the best we can. And so really, truly the whole week felt like a loss, just because we're dealing with that. But I'm sitting here thinking, and there was like a lot of wins in that week that had nothing to do with what was going on. And so just being able to like, one, for me to be able to draw those out and see like, just because this one big thing happened and did kind of put a shadow over the week, there was good still there. But also thinking through the week and realizing that like a lot of people have on my team, that's one of the things on Monday mornings we have team meetings, and because of this space, I rewrote our questions to like spur on like our meeting notes, and my first question is like, where's the win? And so just trying to like get people to see like what did go well, like where did you see something, like where did you feel like this is why I work here? But just like thinking through this week, and there was a lot of people that pulled those out as the week went, like, hey, this is going bad, but look what happened here. Like,
yeah.
And just thinking like that's contagious. Like people want to see good. Like they don't want to, even though sometimes we are more naturally bent to like see the bad.
Sure.
But just feeling really thankful in this moment that like, but we can change what we're naturally bent to. Like,
yeah.
And I feel that in myself, and I feel that in the people I'm working with, that like something's shifting to where we can acknowledge like, yeah, this sucks, but there's like some good here still.
Yeah, that's good. What else?
Rachel's birthday's coming up.
Yeah.
So yesterday I went birthday shopping for her, and it was insane. Like I think people are already Christmas shopping. Like I was like, there's so many people out,
yeah.
And so I got her some stuff, and then I was super paranoid that it wasn't gonna fit, and so I gave it to her early. and it didn't fit, and so that was a really good one because I was like, oh.
Nice.
I got her some shoes, and then I went in the closet and I looked, and all of her shoes were like a half size bigger than the sizes that I got her, and so I was like, oh no. I was like, well, I can exchange it, but I just want to know so I can exchange it before her birthday. And so I was like, hey, will you try these on?
Yeah.
And they fit, and so then I was like, well, then I could have kept the surprise.
Yeah.
It would have been great, but no, so it was a good experience because it was like, felt like I was in Mission Impossible, like just getting through like these lines, and I don't know, but yeah, so overall it's a good experience though.
That's good. Yep.
I was having a rough week at school and just in general, and I got the chance to have a good conversation with two of my teachers that really helped just kind of put some wind in my sails for the week.
Yeah.
And then my sister also surprised me coming home from college, so I got to hang out with her this weekend. Which
Cool.
was really great.
That's
Didn't
fun.
really know how much I missed her until she came back.
That's good.
Logan got me a free job
Hmm.
looking at volunteer work, looking at some historical documents of Davy Crockett, and I'm so excited.
That's cool.
to look at them. They're from like what 1790 something. I'm really excited.
That's awesome.
So, free job.
Free job. That's awesome.
I've been learning a new position at work, which is more in my comfort zone of like actually doing front desk instead of like doing random tasks, being an assistant. And so it's been overwhelming, but also kind of like exciting.
Cool.
This past week, I was at school and I have a writing class that I have to take. And most people take it when they're like sophomores, but I'm senior and I have to take it. So I am taking it now. And I got there early and sat at this table. There was nobody sitting at it because I had just started working early. And a lot of the girls that are in class with me came in around the same time, and they like came up to me. They were like, "Hey, can we sit here? Because we don't understand what we're supposed to be doing." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, you can sit here." And so some of them like pulled up chairs that weren't even at the table to sit with me, and they all asked me questions. And I felt almost like a mentor for them in a way,
Yeah.
because I think they know that I'm a little bit older than them, and this is more of a hurdle that I have to jump through. It's not something that I'm struggling with necessarily. And so I just thought it was really sweet that they asked me questions and they felt comfortable enough around me to ask me questions that they didn't feel comfortable asking the professor. So they're like, "This might sound dumb, but I don't really understand what this means." And so I was like, "Oh yeah, it's not that hard. Like, it's just, this is how you do it." And they're like, "Oh, that makes sense." And so that made me feel really good, and like I was a good resource for them to have there. So that was cool.
That's good. Cheers, Walt. Yeah, who's got? Who is that? Who is that?
I have a good, but it kind of started off as a sucky thing. It looked like stomach bug, as you know, like you can have in your house. So that was fun, just vomit. Extravaganza. But when she gets sick, she becomes very snuggly, and so she just wanted to be held for the past 3 days, which kind of stunk. But where we're doing this like practice, like finding good, like the good for me was I got to snuggle my baby that's getting bigger really quickly. So even though it was gross and annoying, and I feel like I got nothing done, I don't know. I got to look at her freckles and figure out like stuff that she goes so quickly that I don't get to watch as closely.
That's awesome. It's a good one. Anything else?
I got to meet with Blake this week, and that was good. I said he met my struggle with grace and hope, and just something I'm really thankful for, and it always kind of blows me away when I expect something more harsh.
And cheers. Cracker Barrel too. We met at Cracker Barrel, so that was the grace of God. I had some fried pickles. It was amazing.
It was a holy meeting.
It was a holy meeting. Okay. We were at the temple itself. It's the Lord's table, man. That was a good time. Anything else?
My little brother and I really love watching movies together, and we hadn't done that in a while. And I guess I just have a sense that he's like getting older. He's 15, and he's like, you know, a teenager and in high school and all that. But last night we watched Sweeney Todd together, and
Nice.
I've never seen that before. And it was just so fun. And yeah, I really treasure those moments with him. So.
That's awesome. I'll name 3 real quick. I'm a big seasonal guy, so I like seasons. And I get a Starbucks drink that's it feels seasonal for me. And it makes me sound like a toddler because it's a steamed apple juice. So, hang on. So, it's steamed apple juice. Don't laugh at me. It's a steamed apple juice with brown sugar. It's incredible. It's basically an apple cider, but it's called the Blake. Usually when I get it, there's like no one at Starbucks, but like Warren was saying, we were there yesterday and there's like 1,000 people there. And so I was just standing there with Taylor and Walt, and they're like, steamed apple juice. And I was like, who's this for? You know, I was like, but it tasted like fall, and I was like, this is it for me. Last night we made soup. We have a tradition of making soup in the fall, and it was like little moments I just want to be able to grab and be like, there's some really good things, and I want to thank God for those things. And then Walt is just growing up, and it's like what you were saying, Laura, like the words are changing for him now. Like he doesn't stumble through blueberry as much as he used to. Like he says blueberry, and I just like, it's sad, but it's like really cool to see him grow. Like last night he was stacking cups with his hands, like in ways that he hasn't been able to stack cups. And like I was just watching him and I was like, this is crazy. Like to see his little brain work, and he was just doing it like it was nothing. I know it seems simple, but like I just want to be present for that moment. And so that presence I want to have with my Starbucks and with the soup and with Walt, it's like the Lord's always present, and I want to be present too, you know. So I want to name those. So let me pray for us real quick. Corey's going to come and lead us through the scriptures, and we'll keep going. Okay. God, we're here. We're yours. We thank you for the good, true, the beautiful of you showing up. God, this next few minutes, I just pray that our hearts are soft and we can lean, we can listen, we can ponder how you're speaking to us. And even in this moment, we name the good of how you're showing up for us and you're teaching us and instructing us. So we're here, we're yours, and we pray in your name. Amen.
I'm going to turn it a little and sit off to the side. Sit off adjacent to. If you got a Bible, you go to Proverbs chapter 9. I'll be there in just a moment. Let me get my clock out. I vow not to do another 50-minute sermon, I promise. We'll see how it goes. But when the jokes are hitting, there's no stopping. All right? So Proverbs chapter 9, I'll be there momentarily. We're talking about how to waste your life. And the joke is I'm going to come up with a series of subtitles to really hit home on how to waste your life. So this week, this is the subtitle: How to Waste Your Life, a guide to find beauty and meaning where you least expect it. Come on, somebody. Because this notion is, so what we're trying to do with this series is that there are cultural ways that have seeped into Christian culture and saying, if you want to matter in this life, then you must strive for greatness. You gotta climb the ladder. You got to keep going bigger. And then sometimes that gets translated to like, hey, if you're not living your life going to Africa as a full-time missionary, what are you doing? And it's almost like we belittled being a good dad, husband, mom, friend to a subset of Christian values. That's like, okay, but if you really want to live for the glory of God, you got to give everything. You got to just string your life out for the sake of God. And what if, the notion here is, what if the actual way that God meant for your life to be lived was what some people call a waste? What if a waste of time in the kingdom of God is actually the life you were meant to live? What if your goal in this life is just to go be a good dad, work a job, love your wife and kids, and savor the goodness of God throughout your entire life? I fear that sometimes it seems like it's like, well, okay, because we've let this idea creep in of, man, okay, I got to more. This is the other subtitle. How to waste your life. Spend your life picking up seashells on the beach doesn't sound that bad. This is a bit of a punch. There may or may not be a book out there that talks about picking up seashells on the beach. I can't confirm or deny it. But honestly, spending my life picking up seashells on the beach doesn't really sound that bad. It sounds pretty good. Before we begin, I like to do this thing on social media sometimes where I find these memes and tweets that I just find hilarious and I share them. And it happens every so often, like once every 3 months. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do it live here. So this is going to be our live social media burst. I hope to God these are appropriate. I didn't check them. Oh, well, we'll find out. Here's the first one. How to negotiate a higher salary. Bam. Never thought of this before. So if you're in the middle of negotiations, maybe try this one out next time you're trying to get more money from your employer. I don't know if it works, but maybe it'll help. Next one. From Jay the Wave. Social media needs to stop recommending people I may know. I know them and I hate them. Come on, somebody. You've seen that before. You're like, I don't want to add this person to my friends. All right. I appreciate the business friendship that we have, the cordial nature of it all. I do not want to add them. Quit recommending them. Does anyone have, just confession time, I have a friend request on Facebook that's been there for, I mean, at this point, years. All right. When did Facebook come out? It's been there for, and it's still there. And the account's still, or the friend request is still pending. And I look at it sometimes and I think about it. I'm like, is 9 years too long? Should I accept it? I'm like, no. This one I thought was hilarious. This one's a bit older, but it's so good. It cracked me up this week. Harsh but fair. God is not mad at you. He's just not that into you. All right. You're like, okay. After seeing this, I now made it my life goal to go to Barnes & Noble and try to do this with 2 books and see what kind of titles can I come up with side by side. But harsh, but fair. Speaking of God checking to see if you responded to the like for Jesus, ignore for Satan post your aunt put on Facebook. You remember those? It's like you scroll past them and then like you stop and then you scroll back up. Because what if? What if this is a big deal? What if you ignore it and Satan does receive some extra power for it? What if? So, I created a separate email just to send these things out. Just be on the safe side. Lord knows my heart. Oh, goodness. Speaking of Jesus, let's just keep this going. This is so funny. Jesus, you have returned. In what meaningful way could we honor your death and resurrection? Eggs! Eggs is the best way to respond to my resurrection. Color eggs in pastel colors and go hide them. And when you receive them and you find them, you can take in the glory that Jesus has resurrected from the dead. Come on, somebody. The good Lord said it himself. What if? What if the disciples could look today and be like, is that really what they do at Easter time? They hide eggs and there's metaphors for the eggs? All right. This one's hilarious. Everyone's sending me the video of that Chick-fil-A employee stopping a carjacking, and with the way he put that guy in a chokehold, I guarantee that kid isn't homeschooled. That was a public school takedown. Public school takedown. And then the response to this was even funnier. Public school takedown was the working title of the new Kirk Cameron documentary. Public school takedown. Y'all seen that video? Yeah, there ain't nothing Chick-fil-A can't do. All right, man. I've been at Chick-fil-A in Oregon, man. We did some crazy stuff. We pushed cars through the drive-thru where their cars broke down. We've changed oil in the parking lot. We've chased people down when they've left their credit cards and things. And we've broken up a couple fights at Chick-fil-A, but nothing like that. Nothing like somebody taking some keys and All that stuff is hilarious. Oh, these next ones are so funny. So this next account is from people. So it's a teacher that takes requests from other people of things that are said in classrooms, and then they put it out there like anonymously. And it's some of the funniest stuff. Like most of it's like grade school area, but some of it's brilliant. So this is the first one. My parents don't trust me because I ate 2 jars of Nutella. Like this is when I want more context. I'm like, what? In what case? How old is this person? Was this a grade school or is this a senior in high school? Like, where is this person at? This one, next one's about friendship. And, I feel like we could all learn something from this friend. Today, my friend was in love with a boy, but he was being mean. So I helped her cry. Then we hit him with a unicorn umbrella. We all could use a friend like Nina, honestly, sometimes. Nina sounds like the kind of friend you want around when you need to beat somebody up with. Well, first cry with. That's the first part of friendship is we sat there and cried together, and then we proceed to beat him up with an umbrella. That's the way to do it. Oh man, this next one is a prayer from Graham, and I think Graham is trying to just impart just goodness in our lives. This is a prayer from Graham. May there always be pizza in your heart and puppies in your soul. Namaste. Thank you, Graham. Thank you, Graham, for that notion. Man, it feels good to laugh, don't it? You're like, is he just going to tell jokes all day? I might. All right? I might. Because what you're thinking right now, is he really just going to tell jokes all day? Because that would seem like a waste of time, wouldn't it? Come on, somebody. I got him. It's like, here's the thing. I was sitting in class this week, and before class, I like to do like just 5, let's be honest, 15 minutes of playful banter. And I'm just laughing and joking. And it's this junior class, and we were just having a good time. And this girl she stops, and she's like, man, I really, really needed a laugh this morning. And I stopped, and I was like, sometimes the best thing you can do, it's what Proverbs say. Proverbs says a joyful heart, a humorous spirit it's a good medicine for the soul. Something about lifts up your soul. And so if we're not careful, this is why I get to the serious stuff. So if we're not careful, you spend your entire life being so serious, cutting yourself off from the joy. I used to think that the ultimate Christian is a Jedi Knight. Like that's like what you're supposed to. Jedi Knight has like muted all emotions and aggressions, and has it's like because like I watch Anakin Skywalker, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, Bubba's got a point, Maybe not with the younglings, but hey, like, it's like make him a master Jedi Knight. Is he really talking about Star Wars? Yeah, we're talking about Star Wars. It's just like, but I used to think that, man, the ultimate Christian is the person that has like settled their spirit and controlled it and willed it, and that they feel nothing but peace and calmness. But when you do that, you sever a piece of your soul that you've lost. And you start living through life, and you're not just growing older, you're getting older. And so the question is how do you not waste your life? Maybe you need to start wasting some time caring for what your soul needs. This is a quote by Thomas More. He says, care of the soul is a fundamentally different way of regarding daily life and the quest for happiness. Care for the soul is a continuous process that concerns itself not so much with fixing a central flaw as with attending to the small details of everyday life, as well as to major decisions and changing. Tom's what he's saying. He's like, hey, soul care is not so much about fixing your fatal flaws in your character as it is about attending to a life of the mundane, the everyday nuances, the normalities of what life brings you. Can you tend to your soul by tending to the things of life? He keeps going. Tending to the things around us and becoming sensitive to the importance of home, daily schedule, and maybe even the clothes we wear are ways of caring for the soul. All very concrete decisions of everyday life that day by day either support or disturb the soul. So the first point to make about care of the soul is that it's not primarily a method of problem solving. Its goal is not to make life problem free, but to give ordinary life the depth and value that come with soulfulness. It's like, what if there's a way that you can live through life attending the most ordinary, mundane of tasks? This is why I love Brother Lawrence, practicing the presence of God. It's a short little book, but he says that he felt the closest to God washing dishes. Bubba's crazy. God's spirit is nowhere near washing dishes above a sink. Me and Emily, our first apartment did not have a dishwasher. And that might be the first level of hell. Like, it might be you have a house, no dishwasher, and you have to wash them all by hand. That was insane. Like, our dishwasher sucks right now. Like, it's not very good. But hey, like, they're not sitting in the sink because I can't finish 15 of, especially now with a family of 5. Good Lord, those kids. Because right now, like, Judah will, like, get a cup. I guess this is like, I'm probably not any better than this. He grabs a cup, takes a sip, sets it out. 5 minutes later, comes back to gets a cup, takes a sip, sets it out. 15 minutes goes by. He's like, "Where's my cup?" Oh well, grabs another cup, and then he's got, like, by the end of the day, he's gone through 7 glasses. I'm like, bro, what are you doing, man? And they're all like just halfway to the bottom. I'm like, make up your mind, man. What are you gonna do? So, here it is, Jeremiah. This is from our video last week. This is so good. This was from that Godspeed video. It's Jeremiah 6:16. God said, stand by the roads and look and ask for the ancient paths where the good way is, and walk in it and find rest for your souls. I think what God wants in this series of talks and thoughts, so I think there's a way that we can look back at these ancient ways by Jesus in the Old Testament, find where the good way is, and then walk in it. Because the goal is not just to look at this stuff and leave, man. The goal is, like, are there practices at which you can emulate and try out so that we can find some rest for our souls? The good way. The ancient Hebrews had a way of talking about the good way or the good life. It's in the book of Proverbs. It's wisdom literature. So Proverbs 9, I'm actually just going to throw it up on the screen here. If you got a Bible, you can look at Proverbs 9, verse 10. Is where I'm going to be at. If you've been at church before, you've probably heard this verse at some point. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Come on, somebody. So wisdom is in the wisdom literature here. Proverbs, the book of the word there, wisdom's chokmah. And it's personified as lady wisdom. It's a feminine Hebrew word. So in the whole book of Proverbs, it's this lady wisdom. She's crying out in the streets. She's in the market. Everywhere you look, you can find wisdom. Wisdom says that, man, that God in his wisdom, it's an attribute of God, has created everything. And that through the fabric of time and space and creation and the world, you can find wisdom in it all. And so if you're struggling to find wisdom, it's not because wisdom's hard to find. It's that you have a sight problem. Because wisdom's everywhere. And so the ancient writers here, this Proverbs, are saying, man, if the good life, the way you live life well, so what the whole book of Proverbs says, it's very conventional. It's A plus B equals C. It's like, hey, follow God, do what's right, and you will be blessed. Do your own way, be selfish, be unkind, have no control over the words you say, and you will end up falling apart and your world being destroyed. It's very simple. It's very concrete. It says, hey, do this. But then they say this whole phrase, but the fear of the Lord. How do you start this walk? How do you start this ancient pathway to the good life? It's the fear of the Lord. Now, I grew up in, church, and I remember being a kid and hearing the fear of the Lord and being terrified because, those preachers get up there and like you should be scared of God. He's holding your very breath in the palm of his hands. Like, everyone just take a deep breath right now. That's by the goodness and grace of God. And he could have not given you that. You could have not woken up this morning, but it's by the goodness of God he kept you alive and breathing. You could have gotten a car accident on the way here, but he kept you. And it's terrifying. Yes, true, sure, but terrifying nonetheless as a 9-year-old, 10-year-old to hear all that kind of stuff. Scared me. So I grew up thinking I got to be scared of God. And at the same time, though, go to God in prayer when I'm scared, but I'm scared of God. So how am I supposed to go to God in prayer if I'm scared of him? And so then later on, it was like kind of I was asking these questions, like, well, now it's reverence. It's having a holy reverence for God, which is it's true. You know, it's not completely wrong. And a lot of that stuff came out of the 18th century with romanticism, poets that came in and I guess got obsessed with the idea of reverence. And so then we changed from talking about fearing God, being scared of God, to having a reverence for God. But I think this word fear here, you got to be careful because we look at the fear of the Lord, and there's a Hebrew word for that right here. It's this whole phrase. It's a Hebrew word. And it's not fear because Hebrews had a word for being scared. They also had a word for reverence and holiness. But they don't use that word here. They use the word yira. It says the yira is the beginning of wisdom. It comes from Genesis 22 with Abraham and Isaac. You know, Abraham treks up to the mountain to sacrifice his son, which is a trippy story to begin with. And then God provides. He says, hey, don't do it, Abraham. I'm going to provide a sacrifice. It says Abraham sees the yira of the Lord, of Yahweh. And he says, because of this, God is provider, Jehovah Jireh. And so what's interesting about yira is it's connected to the word ra'ah, which means to see, sight. It's the word to see. They're connected by their root words. And so what does yira mean? It's awe and wonder. Yira is awe and wonder. And awe and wonder is so much connected to how you see, not just see, but how you see. This is the biblical writers here. They're saying that you don't just see here, but you see here. That's why you see in Paul in the New Testament says, open the eyes of our hearts, Lord. Because sometimes we see one way here, but then you see something completely different here. It's your soul. It's your center. It's everything you have in you. So what does it mean to be in awe of the Lord? 2 stories. Stay with me. I got a purpose. Maybe. We'll see. 2 stories. We'll come back. We might end in Ecclesiastes where we say everything is pointless and just give up. But we might save that for next week. 2 stories here. All right. Anybody like roller coaster like fanatics? Or I'll just say adrenaline junkies. Like anything that just embarks your adrenaline, you're like, sign me up for. That is me. I'm an adrenaline junkie. So much so that even when like it's time to give blood at the school, I will sign up for it because of the little bit of fear that comes over my life about giving blood, just because it's like it's an intense thing. Like you go in, we're not giving blood in one of those like mobile home unit things. It's terrifying. Terrifying. You walk in, it's cramped, you're sitting down, and everything is just open. Like everything and all things, like it's like at a doctor's office, it's cool because everything's in cabinets and kind of shut off, and the nurses are very trained at like hiding things, but not the mobile home blood giving thing. Like that's not it. You see everything. It's straight. It's like the Golden Corral. All right. You see it all right in front of you. All right. That's why I love Golden Corral, because Golden Corral is the most honest restaurant out there. All right. You don't see what happens in the kitchen at Chili's, but you do a Golden Corral. All right. And I appreciate the honesty. It's like, where are we going with this? So roller coasters. It's that adrenaline. I remember I was a late bloomer to the roller coaster game. I was like 13. And my first, I remember year after year going to Dollywood and going up to the Tennessee Tornado and seeing that thing. I remember, and my dad's this way. My dad just like, for the thrill of it, will just go. And I remember watching my dad ride it, and then my older brother Josh would start riding it. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna ride it. And I remember one year I got in there, and my dad's like, "You gonna do it this year?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's ride a roller coaster." I was Californian as a kid. I was like, "Let's do this thing." And so we get there, and I remember going through all the twists and turns, and then getting to the point, and then like hearing screams coming in, and I freaked out. I can't do this. I started crying. I was like 10, 11 years old. I was like, I'm not doing this. I freaked out. I sprinted away. My dad was like, "What are you doing?" And I remember doing this year after year, trying to work up the courage to ride this dumb roller coaster. And I couldn't do it except one year. I was like 13 or 14 when we went down to Islands of Adventure down in Florida. And I beheld the Incredible Hulk. I was like, Corey, you're 13. You're a grown man. You got bills and stuff. It's time to ride a roller coaster. It's time to ride a roller coaster that goes upside down. It's your rite of passage as a man. We got to do this thing. I said, Dad, I'm riding that roller coaster. My dad's like, are you sure? Because Tennessee Tornado's cool. But this thing, it's huge. It's not just called the Incredible Hulk for nothing. It's incredible. All right. I was like, I'm going to do this. I remember getting in line. Have you ever been so terrified? Like you feel like every organ in your body's quivering and you're trying to control it, but there's just this vibration in your soul that you cannot contain. And I remember even trying to get a word out, but I couldn't. And when I get nervous, I yawn. I'm like, my dad's like, you okay? But yeah, just a little tired. Yeah, a little tired, a little sleepy. Stayed up way too late last night. Too much caffeine, Dad. I'm 13. I got to start going decaf. I remember getting to the line and get to the front. I remember my dad being like, are you sure? Because once we get on, we're not getting off. And I was like, no, it's time. If I'm going to die, I'm going to die going out as a man. And I remember sitting down, guys. Oh, my goodness. I remember sitting down and just like, we're on the front row, too. My dad did me dirty, all right? He's like, we're going to the front row. If we're going to do this, we're going to ride this the right way. So I remember sitting down, and the guy comes, and I try to pull it down. But, you know, the harness doesn't. It's hard to believe. Corey at 13 was I was itty bitty, like itty bitty. When I pull this thing down, it stops. Like there's a good foot of gap in between me, and it won't come down anymore. And I'm like, Dad, what do I do? He's like, just buckle it up. You're good. And so I buckle it up, and it reaches, and then they come through and they tug. They're checking. Well, the guy's like coming behind me, and he's checking. He skips me. And walks up. He's like, we're all clear, all good, all good. I'm like, no, we're not all good. My harness is not checked. All right, nobody checked it. There's a gap, and we don't know if this thing's going to hold. Sir, put your thumb down. He's like, we're good. I'm like, we're not good. Stop it. My dad's like, will you shut it? Like, and I was like, oh, and here we go. Off we're out. I'm like, I'm going to die. We go around this curve. And we're trekking. I'm like, this is how I'm trying to I'm checking, and there's a little bit of a loose gap in it. Like it ain't snug, guys. And I know where we're sitting there. And the Hulk does this one thing: you don't just casually go up; you get like shot out of a shotgun type thing. Like it's like there's like a countdown, and then it goes, and then you shoot. I remember going from terrified because you come out, and then you go upside down, and you just do a free fall at like the lake at the bottom. And here I am, 13. I get shot. I come out of the seat. But thank God the harness does hold. The guy was right. It held. We were good. And I remember coming down and being like, I remember 2 hands in the air, almost like innately knowing that my hands need to be in the air. And I remember free falling down in this thing and being like, this is awesome. And I'm going to die. And it's going to be awesome. And then that, my friends, was the start of the adrenaline addiction because I was hooked. Because there was something about that feeling of terror, but enjoyment that I could not get away from. Oh, my goodness, guys, it's bad. So now as an adult, I'm going to go get blood for that feeling, all right? Like, it's like sad, honestly. Sometimes I order things on Amazon just to have something to look forward to. It's like, is my package here? Like, I ordered a pen and some Post-its, all right? I did Prime delivery, should be here in 2 days. Don't touch my package. I want to open it up and have the experience myself. Guys, that feeling changed me. Second story is our first, Molly Kate was 2 years old. It's our first beach trip. Guys, I love the beach. Love the beach. I'm not just one of those beach people I like the beach because I have to stay in the hotel and so no, I want the beach. I want the sand. I don't mind the sand. That's where I disagree with Anakin Skywalker. All right, I don't mind that it's coarse. All right, I don't mind that it's not smooth. You know what? I like it. Okay, I want the whole experience. All right, I remember loading up my Mazda 3 with so much junk because guys, college beach trips are awesome. You go with a backpack. You got a backpack and a towel and maybe one change of clothes. Then you get married and have a kid, and you have to bring everything in your house to fit into your little car. And I was like, you know what we're gonna do? Whatever. We get to Dirty Myrtle. That's the other thing. I want Dirty Myrtle. Some of y'all go to Hilton Head. Cool. No, I want the Dirty Myrtle experience. All right. I want to feel kind of unsafe when I'm on the beach. All right. Like I want that. I want the adrenaline. All right. I don't want to feel good about. I want to go to like a crab shack and be a little nervous. A fight might break out between two dads. All right. And I might want to, watch. It might be fun. Give me the mini golf. Okay. Like I don't want the like really cute streets with bikes. Okay. That's fine for y'all. I need the Dirty Myrtle experience. So we get there, and I remember being so excited. I was like, I'm gonna show Molly Kate the ocean, because that's really what I love. Like the ocean is just wild to me, guys. There's places of the ocean that we haven't even been to yet, which is terrifying. I actually saw on TikTok this past week. I need to confirm it because it's TikTok. But there's like a place in the ocean between, I guess, California and Asia there, that you're like the furthest away, like the closest people to you are people in space.
I saw that too.
You know, well, it's freaky. Like it's how far apart these things, like that you are furthest away from, you're the most alone you will ever be at this one part in the ocean, that the closest human being to you is in outer space, which is terrifying. Anyways, that's the ocean, guys. And I remember like, I'm going to take Molly Kate here. She's 2, but I'm still going to like show her the greatest expanse of the water. We get there. I'm the pack mule. I got like 4 coolers, 7 chairs. I don't know why we have 7 chairs. There's 3 of us, just in case. And I get there, and I remember like we got to the spot. I just dump all this stuff because I'm like, I'm going to show my daughter the ocean. I'm like, Molly Kate, come here. Grab her hand. I get to the edge of the water there, where the ocean's like touching your toes and going back in. I'm like, Molly Kate, it's like, do you see it? It's the ocean. See the water? It's beautiful. It's like, Molly Kate, you feel how the ocean's grabbing you and pulling you in? I was like, it's just like the goodness of God. You can't escape it. It's coming after you. I was like, Molly Kate, you see how far you can see? You can't see the end. It's just like the goodness of God. You cannot see the end of God's love and goodness for you. You see how vast. It's like, Molly Kate, the ocean's so deep. You cannot explain the vastness and goodness and glory and majesty of God. Like, Molly Kate, take it in. The vastness and glory of the ocean and what God did. And I look down. She's not there. Gone. So I start looking. I'm like, all right, stay cool, stay calm. It's just a 2-year-old on the beach. First time on the beach. It's nothing to be worried about. I'm trying to come casually being cool. I look back to see Emily, and she's at the little camp area. I'm like, okay, she hasn't realized that I lost her daughter yet. So I start looking. I'm like, is she in the water? Please, God, no. I'm looking around. I start doing the like where you're trying to like call out, but be cool. Like, Molly Kate. Molly Kate. Well, I was trying to be chill too, because when you get moms like rallied around a lost kid, like they get like SWAT team like within like seconds. Like it's like you're looking around. It's like I was in Walmart not too long back, and there was this mom like going around being like, there's like 7 moms being like, Rick. I'm like, are we looking for a kid or a man? Like, who are we looking for? Like, Rick? And it was like, so I was trying to be chill. because I didn't want to alarm the moms. And so I was walking around, I'm pacing, I'm literally going everywhere. And then I stop, and some people kind of move over, and I see little Molly Kate about 20 feet down with her eyes towards the ground. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I gotta do my speech over again. She missed the whole thing. So I walk around like, Molly Kate, what are you doing? She's staring. This little 2 foot by 2 foot hole on the beach. I was like, what are you looking at? I was like, baby girl, do you got problems? And she's like, Daddy, fishies. I look down in this water, and someone has dug a hole in the water, and they're throwing the net out, pulling out these little bitty minnows, tossing them into the little shore there. They're just swimming, like 90 miles an hour, just swimming. I was like, oh, baby, cool. That's so good, baby girl. Yeah, fishies. That's awesome. Like, okay, let's go back to the ocean, baby girl. Come on. I prepared a sermon, a talk that you were going to take in. You should have been taking notes. Should have left Dad to begin with. And she's like, Dad, fishies. Like, I see the fishies, baby girl, but let's ocean. I'm trying to grab her, and she's like, when the kid does that, they pull your hand from you. I was like, you want to fight? She's like, Dad, fishies. I was like, baby girl, you want fishies? Ocean's got fishies. It's like, you like Little Miss? I got Nemo. I got sharks. All right. I got whales, like fishies. Now you can't see them obviously, but they're in there. Like, you want fishies, baby girl, ocean. She's like, Dad, fishies. I was like, baby girl, ocean. I'm like, get over here. She would not leave, people, for 45 minutes. She stood at this dumb hole on the shore for 45 minutes talking about dumb fishies. Yes, I'm still a little upset about it. This was 7 years ago. It's process. I'm on the process of healing. For 45 minutes, all about these dumb fishies. What she talked about for the next 3 months of her life was, so I was like, Molly Kate, how was the beach? She said, fishies. I was like, yeah, there's a dumb hole on the beach with fishies. For 3 months, people, I had to sit and relive the fact that my ocean wasn't good enough. Yeah, not God's, my ocean. All right, this was my thing. Had to relive the fact that she didn't give a crap about my ocean. She only cared about these dumb little fishies. I used to preach this story terribly back in the days of my student pastor day. And I used to say, God has so much more for you out in the ocean, and you're settling for what's on the shore. Just so mean to tell middle schoolers. Not wrong. Because sometimes we settle for sure. Is that wrong? No. Yeah. I mean, I think God's got more for you out there. Yeah, for sure. And do we settle? Yeah, we settle a lot for little things here and there, for sure. But now in my life, I'm preaching it a completely different way. Because I felt terrible. Because I thought my daughter was missing it. And I think that the person that actually missed it wasn't Molly Kate. It was me. That there was a moment there of awe and wonder that completely came over my daughter, that like it changed who she was. She talked about it. She stood there for 45 minutes looking at this dumb hole. It didn't matter that there was a bigger hole out there with more water in it with bigger fish in it. She was captivated by her little place on the shore. When it comes to awe and wonder and walking in the fear of the Lord, what does it mean to fear the Lord? It's understanding that God, through the fabric of creation and time, has wired your heart to be awoken by things, to come alive by things, to perceive things that make you in your soul lift up. And it changes you. It moves you. And most of the time, it doesn't make sense. It's not logical. Guys, I was in Portland, Oregon, doing really well, making really good money. My wife didn't have to work. We were doing good. And that was hard. I was going to conferences. This is the most evangelical pastor of all time. It was wild. I was doing really well. And I remember when we told people we were moving back to Tennessee to help with this Christian school, they were like, "You're crazy, bro. You're going to go be a teacher?" But there was something when I got this phone call saying, "Hey, I want you to help teach kids the Bible." Something in me came alive that was dormant for a long time. I followed the awe and wonder. It's like there's moments in your day where you feel it and you come alive and you laugh and you smile and you enjoy it. There's things in your life that you long to do and to be a part of and to stay in. It's your awe and wonder. This is what the fear of the Lord is beginning, the wisdom, the good life. Man, you need to have some awe and wonder in your life. They're saying that our generation now is the most desensitized generation of all time, that we've lost our awe and wonder. I think we've got to get a little bit more in touch with the simple things in life. So my question is this, what in your life makes your soul come to life? It doesn't have to be crazy. could be a dumb little hole on a beach. But what's the one thing that equally terrifies you, but you can't stop doing it? What's the thing that when you are doing it, time passes and you look up and it's been 45 minutes or an hour, but you've enjoyed it so much? It's like your soul needs it. And most people look at this as it's a waste because, hey, you should be climbing the ladder. Get out there. There's a bigger ocean out there. Why would you want to spend your Sunday morning with a group of people around a conference table, 30 people here, with a big, massive IMAX TV screen, with like a room with kids over there that's honestly probably Wild Wild West? Thank you, Jordan and Andrew, for being in there. It's like, what are we doing? Like, we should be marketing. We should be publicizing this thing. Like, let's get out here. Let's hit the streets. Let's start paying for some Facebook ads. Let's grow this thing because it's not good if it's small. It's not good if it doesn't touch or change anybody's life. Where's the baptism tank at? Like, there's not even, how are you going to do baptism? We'll just shove someone's head in the sink. It'll be fine. We'll figure it out. I'll twist some words. It's like, what are you doing? What do you mean you're leaving that job? You're making so much money there. Why would you go take this job? Hey, why are you doing that thing? It makes zero sense. What are you doing with your life? You see how it's easy to get in this rhythm of looking over the things in your life that actually matter and actually mean something and actually change you. And what we do is, in this idea of, we try to leave the little hole on the beach to go chase the ocean, and you lose the very thing that made you alive. You lose the very awe and wonder that starts this process out following God. It's like, so what's the thing that lifts your spirits? What are you not seeing properly? What are some things in your life that you've kind of looked away from because of pressure or societal things, or maybe you thought it didn't make any sense to do that, so you kind of left it? Man, what would it look like for more people to pursue some awe and wonder in their life? I think you'd have a lot more joyful people. Because this is the start. It's the start of the good life. And guys, I got like, how do I get more in tune with awe and wonder? Guys, I got 3 P's. I can alliterate it if you want to, you know. It's like, pause, purpose, reflect, perspective. But it's like, sometimes you gotta slow down. It's a discipline. You gotta practice it. It's about slowing down, being still, stopping, and reflecting on what's going on. I get a hard time a lot of times at school because I tell a lot of stories and most people don't believe them. And I get it. I'd say 90, we'll say, okay, let's go 94% is true. Okay. But you know what it is? It's just, I'm just taking life in. I don't want to, because that's where the Ecclesiastes part, and I'm not getting into it because I'm already at 40 minutes and I'm not doing it. Because that's the whole part of Ecclesiastes. It's like, what happens when the good life, you did the right thing and it didn't work out for you. And this is the Ecclesiastes, like, man, everything's worthless and meaningless. We just stop and give up. So I'll just go die in a hole somewhere. And it's this roller coaster of emotions of like, everything sucks. Everything's awesome. Pursue God. You know what? God kind of means sometimes. Like, it's this roller coaster of a book. But he has this moment in there. He says, hey, when you find something, and he actually ends it in Ecclesiastes 11:12, where he says, hey, fear God above all else. Yira the Lord. Yira. Find your awe and wonder in the things of God. He says, when you do that and you find things in your life that actually matter, and there's meaning and there's beauty and there's purpose, you've just started your journey into this good life. So what's in your life is good. What is the things in your life that make your spirit come alive? What are some things that you passed up because of what they were going to look like, because they didn't make any sense? I encourage you this week, find some yira in God. reconnect with your awe and wonder and the things that make your soul come alive. Go do that this week. Is at a coffee shop with a book? My wife was in heaven yesterday, guys. It was her ideal day. It was cold, it was dreary, it was rainy, which sounds depressing. But she was like, this is awesome. I'm like, I just want to cry. She's like, the weather's so nice outside. I'm like, you're crazy and psychotic, all right? But there was some, even now to this morning, she's like, I love this weather. I'm like, you need some help. Give me the 72 degrees and a breeze sunshine. That's what I need. And she's like, no, this is glorious. She's like, I wish it was even colder. I'm like, you're crazy. But it was even just like the weather yesterday. Something came alive by just enjoying what was going on and pausing just for a second to be like, this is incredible. That just doesn't happen overnight. It's slowly and surely taking some moments and some time to stop and pause. And when you're enjoying something, you're hanging with friends and you're laughing and having a good time, stop, take a step back from the group and just take it all in and savor the moment of having a good time. So there was a moment on Thursday night with a bunch of us dudes around a bonfire. Something about so like testosterone like rising about a bonfire, right? Like we made fire and it was like, ah, man. We're all around this bonfire and it was like everyone's kind of talking and laughing, and I just slammed a slice of pizza. Thank God. Shout out to Graham for pizza being in my soul. It was good. It was good. If we're honest, there's not many moments in your life where you can stop and be like, just take it all in. So this week, you got homework. Go have a little bit of fun this week. Go laugh a little bit this week. Go waste some time this week with something in your life that makes you feel alive. Is it a book? Is it a coffee shop? Is it hanging with a friend? Is it game nights? What is it that just makes your spirit come alive? And I'm going to encourage you, go do that. Because the more you do that, the more you actually understand what God is doing in the world. And the more you understand that, the more you get to actively participate in what God is doing in the world. Come on, somebody, let's pray together. God, we love you. God, thank you for this morning. God, I pray this morning for a fresh spirit of yira. God, we pray for awe this morning and wonder this morning. God, help us. God, help us to find things in our life this week that we can stop and be reminded of what you're doing in us. And that you are working all around us. And God, that there's special moments in the normal, most ordinary, boring times. God, I pray this week that those are the moments you speak most. God, I pray this week as we're at our job, crunching numbers or writing down plans or at the grocery store. God, I pray those are the moments that we have some awe and wonder sweep over us. God, help us to find our little holes on the beach with minnows that completely captivate us and lift our spirits. So God, I thank you for what you're doing here and what you're doing in us. God, I pray for people this morning that have come in broken and hurting. God, I pray for healing for that. God, I pray for people this morning that are coming in with questions and doubts and worries. God, thank you that they're here. And they're not alone. We're all in there together. God, thank you for people coming in this morning that just needed a place to come and to sit next to a friend, have some coffee. God, even the little moment this morning of being with people and sitting around a table, laughing and talking about awe and wonder is a very special thing. So God, we thank you for that. God, be with us. God, help us to have moments this week to be kind and patient and loving. God, help us to encourage someone this week. Help us to lift somebody else up this week. Because it's what Jesus would have done. God, help us to take moments and time this week to slow down and to stop and pause and remember that you are working in all things and for all things and through all things. So God, help us see your goodness this week. God, we love you. We're thankful for you. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thanks, man.
All right, y'all. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. You guys do the memes again. We'll just run the memes again.
Second round.
We'll go second round. Yeah. So this is what we're doing. A wasted life, maybe just the life you're made for. So the next month or so, we'll be looking at different aspects of that life and what that looks like and how to give ourselves to it. And I think it's life giving. Like I think this is the way of Jesus. I think about a poor itinerant rabbi who didn't really show up on the scene for 30-ish years and taught some things, and we killed him. I was like, is there any other kind of life? It's like, but there's something about the teachings of Jesus, ways in the teachings of Jesus that bring life and life to the full. And so, anyways, I'm excited about this. The next couple of weeks, we'll talk about different aspects of that wasted life and how it's what we're made for. I have a couple announcements for us, things to fill you guys in on, and then we're done. Okay. So first, this Thursday is going to look a little different. We're going to host it somewhere else, so we need someone else to volunteer their space. We're actually going on vacation, so cheers. It's going to be a lot of fun. But we'll be gone for a week or so after that. So this Thursday, we're going to need someone else to host the dinner, the communal gathering. So you don't have to now, but we'd like to get on that. So if you're willing, able to host some humans, that'd be really, really cool. Towards the end of this How to Waste Your Life series, we're going to do a short talk on, there's a Jewish phrase called Zimzum, and it's about how God retracted himself to create space, to form humanity in the world. And so God creates space for us, and then as we participate in that, we create space for others. And it seems to be like the message of the New Testament is like we're welcoming people to the table. And so communion and hospitality is like, if not the main thing, it's one of the main things of what it means to give yourself to this kind of life. And so that Thursday space, the communion space, is like vital. It's very, very important. And so we want to hold Thursdays up. And so we need someone to host this Thursday. Be really, really helpful. Is there anything else I need to say about this Thursday? Right. And then someone to host the next Thursday. Got it. So we need 2 people to host. We'll help figure out food and all that jazz. There's that. Anything else you need to say about that, Tay? Don't think so. Cool. Any last comments? All right. I'm going to end with a prayer. This is from the 900s, more of a blessing for us to walk out of here. It says, "May God the Father bless us. May Christ take care of us. The Holy Ghost enlighten us in all the days of our life. The Lord be defender and keeper of body and soul, both now and forever, to the ages of ages. Amen." All right. Cheers.
It's like a little fable called The Man Who Planted Trees.
Go ahead and hit that end stream there.
Where were you?
That was on Chrome. To 2 people watching. Bye.